Broncos writer Mike Klis, who I tried getting on, as Ben likes to make subtle little jabs all the time, countdown to kickoff that we've done the previous 2 years.
Countdown to kickoff with Rick Strong.
It's incredibly original. So he says, his headline to his article is that in order for the Broncos to make the Super Bowl, they have to go 11-5. Again, this is Mike Klis of the Denver Post. Here's what he said. No first-round bye is pretty much correlated with a Super Bowl champion. Here were a few of his quotes. The Broncos can't finish the regular season with an 11-game win streak, a 13-3 record, #1 playoff seed as they did last year. That is not the way to the Super Bowl. And then he said regular season champs usually become postseason chumps. I like the way you put that. One more. The past 8 Super Bowl winners have averaged 10.9 victories.
You do like the line, the countdown to kickoff. Because if you think turning champs into chumps, then you think that's clever.
Yeah.
Like, the dude's like the 10,000th person to use that this year.
Regular season champs
because you just change
usually
one
become
letter,
postseason
the A
champs.
becomes a U. Words are very similar.
No way.
Yeah.
So the Super Bowl winners have averaged 10.9 victories and a 3.9 playoff seed. The Broncos will go 11-5 in 2013. He's already laughing. That will be enough to win the weak AFC West and wind up with the #3 or #4 playoff seed. Why are you laughing?
I mean, I hope he's kidding.
It doesn't sound like he is.
But you do math and you end up putting 10.9 victories and 3.9. It makes it seem like you're serious. I mean, it's the dumbest argument in the history of the world. Couldn't be dumber.
And then
because he then butchers math for the rest of the piece.
So then I believe that's where I'm getting.
Misrepresents math. He doesn't butcher it.
So he has said that, Josh McDaniels and John Fox and all them always say, many coaches do, play your best in December. Baltimore last year, 1-4. The 2011 Giants entered December 1-5. New Orleans, when they won the Super Bowl, had a 3-game losing streak.
Yeah, I mean, that right there.
That could also go into not playing your starters as well.
100%. The Saints were 13-0, and then once they lost their right to go 16-0, then they tanked the last 2 games.
Right.
They were the #1 seed, and they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And the notion that it's not an advantage to be the #1 seed, you're looking at the dumbest, smallest sample size ever. Yeah, it won last year. And the Ravens went to the Super Bowl last year in part because a Bronco, Raheem Moore, mistimed a jump.
Yep.
It was flat out luck. Joe Flacco got $50, $80 million because Raheem Moore mistimed a jump. Sports is
That's
freaking.
why?
He doesn't get it otherwise. Because if he doesn't miss
He didn't have 1 turnover in the entire postseason.
he wouldn't have played
that speaks a lot.
Rick, he wouldn't have played any more games. Their season was over. All Raheem Moore's do is tip the ball, which he does 99 times out of 100.
You'll always undervalue Joe Flacco, won't you?
Rick, for the love of God, hear me out. He played great, but it's random. And if Raheem Moore tips a ball that he does 100 times out of 101 times, then the Ravens season ends. And Joe Flacco doesn't get that big contract.
Haven't you ever seen Little Giants? One time. One time.
So the idea that it was advantageous for the Ravens to end 1-4 because then they would randomly somehow connect on an 80-yard Hail Mary to the guy whose name I can never remember. Jacoby. I keep wanting to call him Julio Jones, who's actually good.
Jacoby Jones is good.
He's all right. But so you connect on the deep pass to Jacoby Jones, and the kid. Like, I've never seen a guy mistime a jump like that. that was a high school play.
Yeah.
And from a Bruin, it was painful to watch.
So now, one more thing from Mike Klis.
And the Saints part, again, the Saints, that's irrelevant. They had the #1 seed. He's arguing against having the #1 seed.
They must somehow lose 1 division game. Maybe at improved Kansas City on December 1st. They can also lose at the Giants and Patriots. That's 3. And if they're lucky, the Broncos will lose another game or 2 in December.
I mean, look, I don't doubt they might lose a division game, and I think the Chiefs are a great overbet this year with Alex Smith and Andy Reid.
What's the over-under?
It's surprisingly high.
Like 5.5?
No, I think it's 8. So it's tough. You're asking the Chiefs to have a winning season, but they could have a winning season in what appears to be a potentially pretty bad division, except for the Broncos. So and Kansas City, historically, not last year, but historically, a very tough place to play.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they could lose that game. The Broncos could easily go 11-5. Good teams go 11-5 all the time, and losing to the Patriots and at the Giants, at the Patriots, it's entirely possible, and they'll stumble again, I'm sure, somewhere. But the notion that it's beneficial to them to lose a division game, which means they might lose a tiebreaker and not win the division and have to play a playoff game in round 1 on the road, is insane.
When I saw the headline, my initial reaction was, it's a fan writing about his team professionally. And another thing that went into it for me was, we just can't have the winning record because then there's too much pressure on us in the playoffs, and then we got to perform at home and it gets so quiet. Like, that's exactly what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting this. Not at all.
Yeah, but whatever. That said, if he's trying to be, this is just an attempt by a reporter, and probably a good one. I don't knock him. But
You're knocking the piece, though.
it's silly. It's a silly little piece. Try and win as many games as possible, get the number 1 seed. That's
Yeah.
your best path. That shows very clearly that, by the way, since 2005, teams that have won 11 games, they've only won 1 Super Bowl, and they're 19-20 in the postseason. I mean, it's an advantage to play at home in the playoffs in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely.
The last couple of years, that has gone away. But you don't look at the last couple of years. You look, if you're trying to get a reasonable sample size, of the last 10, 15, 20 years. It's better to play at home.
Absolutely.